Do you ever think that we're in a dystopian movie? I think of AI drones and these AI robots that are starting to be made, and people are just wanting to buy them and place them in their home as a maid. We see the drones flying around. We want them to deliver our Amazon and our Walmart and our food. Have we gotten so comfortable with technology that our world just revolves around it, to a point where if it's not here, what would we do? Also, if it's here and it's actually a threat to us, not a convenience, what would we do? Well, today we're going to talk about a little of that and trying to figure out what is the next coming future of AI and how it could be used at our detriment. Everybody wants to act like it's going to be good, but there's going to be nefarious players using this for the wrong reasons. We're going to talk about what Palantir CEO just said, something we need to talk about. And they've been in the news a lot lately because of the sponsorship of the Army and military game. We need to discuss that. Also, Trump talks about invading into Mexico. Now, not an invasion as in taking over Mexico, but taking out targets, taking out cartels. Would this be a bad thing? I mean, we talk about having a drug trafficking issues. Well, why don't we solve it from taking out some of these people? Also, we're going to talk about Greenland and Panama Canal. Trump says this is the golden age and we're going back to American exceptionalism. Is it wrong to look and say that Greenland and the Panama Canal should be ours again? We should take it over? Something to think about. Let's dive into these stories and a few more, and then we're going to wrap up and talk about these drone situations and AI and how we can prepare for it. Some things that I would do if I were you to not let my life get so entangled in technology. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here on this beautiful day here in South Mississippi. We hope that you're having a great day on this Christmas Eve. And you know, this season is a time to enjoy and to be happy with your family and to know that, you know what, no matter what goes on in the world, as long as we prepare and put our family first and focus on the meaning of Christmas and Christ, I think we'll be okay. Now, the point of the video today, and the point of all our videos, is to make you feel more prepared, to understand what's going on in our world, so that way we will be ready for anything that comes our way. So let's move on to these stories. First, let's talk about what Trump said about Panama Canal, Greenland, and even Mexico. With the fact of trade, you know, the Panama Canal, we invested a lot of money in. We have a lot of trade that goes through there. If we don't get a better deal and see the value of what the Panama Canal could be back to us, why don't we just take it back, and that way we can control the thoroughfare? Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, he does not need to make these claims. The point of Trump making these claims, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, the point of him making these claims is to prove the fact that we are a broken system, and that we have given away all this stuff and done so much for all these other nations that America now is in a brink of crisis. We have a dollar that's failing, we're spending way too much money, and we're in a trade deficit that we shouldn't be in, especially when we're providing a lot of the goods and we could be more independent than we are right now. Well, the thing about Panama Canal, he's saying, look, if we cannot control the trade, or we cannot at least make sure the trade is honest, then we need to be the ones over the Panama Canal. It would give us the rights that we once had. And I believe at that point, we will know what comes in and what goes out and how our shipping lanes can be better. Now, you may not like that, but that is someone who is speaking of American exceptionalism. I think of times of Washington and Teddy Roosevelt and leaders like that looked at the same situation, that we could do better, we could do more. I think of the fact of the Louisiana Purchase. At one time, they probably thought that was nuts, and then all of a sudden, they didn't think it was nuts anymore, because now we got most of our country that way. Same way with the West. So is the golden age Trump saying, you know, we need to go back into the Panama Canal? We need to buy Greenland. Now, I know that's been a joke and funny for a long time, but I think what we're seeing more of is a leader who is wanting to make America the strength of the world again, not the laughingstock of shooting down our own plane like yesterday. Now, is Greenland a big deal? No. Is any of the things like that big deals? No. But what does it do? It gets people talking. Trump is a marketer. And Trump is a big marketer to a point where he's done it for, what, 70-something years now? He knows how to make people talk about what he is saying. Some things he may say that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, that's overwhelming. That will never happen. But then he throws the other things like the Panama Canal. And then he throws something else that I think that's probably bigger than all of it. Panama Canal, Greenland, you know, the great state of Canada, all that stuff. That's negotiation ploy. But one thing I think he throws that out for is because of this right here. Talking about a soft invasion into Mexico. Now this is something that Ron DeSantis and most Republicans backed, that they would go for the cartels. Who cares what the Mexican government says, because the Mexican government has pretty much been bought out by the cartels. It's time to take control of the border, and not only the border, the trafficking issues that are going in and around the border. There's a multi-billion-dollar deal that brings in drugs that kill our families, that kill our children, that make our cities unsafe. And it's time to take control of that. So as DeSantis said, as a lot of other conservatives said back on the stage when they were primarying with Trump, hey, I would definitely go into Mexico and take these cartels out. I think Trump is starting to see that more and more, and I think he is also stating that this will happen. Now, what this will do is two things. It's going to scare the cartels to pieces, and it's going to make them say, you know what, I don't know if we want to keep on pushing our buttons with Trump, because he may be wild enough to do it. You know, I used to watch Walker, Texas Ranger when I was a kid, and I used to think it was so cool when like Chuck Norris would like go down to Mexico and like take somebody back, or you know, someone was down there and he rescued them. It was always so cool. Well, I'm sorry, that was a movie. I like Chuck Norris, but he's a little old now. He can't do it anymore. But the truth be told, we need to handle the drug situation, the epidemics that are happening in our cities. The only way to do that is to stop the source. Yes, he's talked about China, stopping China on some of the fentanyl crisis. But you got to quit the trafficking. And getting those things here from Mexico is happening with those leaders of those cartels. Not only do I think we need to blockade the border and build the border up to a point where no one can enter, north and south, and also guard our ports on the two biggest bodies of water, I think we need to go into Mexico and we need to take out these cartels. And here's what I would say. I would call the Mexican president and say, look, this is what we're gonna do. You can either be a part of it and we can help restore a stronger alliance, or we're gonna do it anyway. And I think that that's exactly what we need to do. And don't tell me that we shouldn't do it. We did it when Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. We've done it in several other occasions. And this one actually benefits us as Americans to stop putting this stuff on the streets. So I think the talk of Greenland, Panama Canal, you know, all that talk, it's him throwing it out there so you will start talking about his crazy plans, but then realize, wow, that's a great idea. We should go in and take care of the border, and not only that, we should make sure these cartels are not pushing this junk across to our kids. That's why Trump is excellent at what he does. He's a marketer. He throws out these big rides like he's fishing, and he's going to see which one takes the bait. Not only that, he manipulates and negotiates with it. Just like the Canada situation, just like what he did yesterday when he made the announcement that NATO is not only going to add more to giving to these countries that they want us to give to, they're going to also buy our fuels instead of buying them from Russia, the one place they're trying to destroy. So I think that his talking is a good thing, because what it does is it opens avenues for negotiation and also for making America an exceptional country again. That's exactly what we need. Now let's jump into the serious talk of the AI drones. Palantir CEO, co-founder, warns that drones, again, AI, robots, all this technology can be very good and we can use it for the right reasons. But at the same time, we can also see the dangers of it. And if we don't have a good control over it, what's going to take place? AI drones could be the way of warfare. It could be an autonomous attack vessel. It could be something that allows people to not actually have to be in war. However, you can't hide from the technology that they're using now. Billionaire venture capitalist that is part of Palantir says that he is urging a shift in U.S. military strategy, criticizing the costly failed attempts of rebuilding the nations of places like Afghanistan. and we need to start looking at ways to use tech. Now again, that sounds great. It keeps our troops here and not abroad. Phenomenal. But what is actually happening is we're building our own demise with building this AI capabilities. I don't understand how we don't see this. We're starting to live in a dystopian time where we see drones flying around. We don't know if they're ours. We don't know if they're someone else's. We don't know if they're looking at us, how they're surveilling us. I mean, I think of the movies like Code 8. I think of the movies like Divergent. I think of the movies like Hunger Games. And I know you think I'm crazy, and I know you think, oh, that guy's got his tinfoil hat on. No, think about it now. I mean, we literally are using, go to Russia and Ukraine. I want you to go to Twitter, and I want you to type in Russia-Ukraine warfare, drone warfare. You should see how they're using drones. The more that we give them technological brains like AI. For instance, I want you to do this. Go and look at how China uses drones to build the light shows in China. They've got dragons flying around. It is absolutely stunning to see. Now you're telling me that they can make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 drones fly in coordination and synchronization to build a dragon to make it look like it's going in the sky, eating fireworks and flying around, and you don't believe they could be able to use against us? I think of the old movie I, Robot with Will Smith, or Terminator. These things in AI could be used for so much. It can be used for medical guidance. It can be used for surgeries, for litigation, for law. It can be used for so much good. But we are in a fallen, evil world that a lot of these people have a God complex and they want to take over the world. And yes, there is no Superman, there is no Batman. So you're going to have nefarious players get their hands on things that they shouldn't get their hands on. Now that scares me. And it makes me fear that, because like last night, I was actually, I had to take hay to the cows. It was around 6:37. Not late, but dark. Completely dark, because it's these winter months with this wonderful daylight savings time situation. And there was a low-flying plane. Now I could tell it's a plane, but it's a plane I hadn't seen before. I don't know if it was doing GPS work and modification for these lines around here, these natural gas lines and things like that in our area. But I was thinking how that guy is flying so low, and he had a different kind of light on it, which is probably some kind of sonar light, some kind of surveillance light to pick up some kind of whatever they were looking for, leaks on a pipeline. It may have been completely innocent. But the thought crossed my head that I'm looking up at something that could be very harmful for me and harmful for my family, to a point where, how do we prepare for that? How do we prepare for heat sensing? How do we prepare for modifications of AI technology that is stronger than us? Elon Musk had a post, and this has been years ago, where a robot was dancing. If you remember Optimus, when he first built Optimus, it danced, and it was almost like a joke. And he said, in just a few years, it will be able to move. That AI robot will be able to move at the speed of sound. Now think of that. That means it's moving so quick that you can't see it. So think of drone technology, something so small. Now, they were talking about drones and the capabilities, and Palantir, again, he's trying to invest in it and trying to make sure that the government uses this kind of technology, which is not good. I think it's good because you're fighting a war, but at the same time, it's bad because what it is we're making basically prisons for its people. Because the more that we surveil people, the only way to fix that, it's almost like an EMP blast where it blasts us back to the Stone Age, where we're not used to technology anymore, and that will make people even go more crazy. So are we going to live in a world that is completely involved and encapsulated with technology that has surveillance all over us, and we learn to live with that? Or are we wanting to go back into the Stone Age? That's really the only two options that we kind of have. Now going back to the AI drones, there's a report that said that a drone with AI technology, and it sees its target, if it's a tank, if it's a home, if it's a person, if it's whatever it is in drone warfare, that it could take 3 shots before that person can move, before that tank can move, before you can move out of the way of danger. And it said it could take your first shot to where you're at, the second shot of where you would try to go to dodge it, and a third shot just in case you didn't go to the second spot, you could go to the third spot. So if it goes ta-ta-ta to where then no matter where the target is or moves, it's hit. Now, again, let's take this back into perspective of Americans living in what we consider a safe country. What if we are looking in the sky and they see exactly what we have, what we're growing, what we're doing? And yes, we have a great leader that's hopefully coming into leadership that's going to do deregulation. But ultimately, he's president for 4 years. Ultimately, there's still people pushing against him. Ultimately, the legacy media is telling him, don't support him. Ultimately, DC Swamp does not like Trump. So if we see more of these people being in charge over the next coming years, how safe is it what we grow? How safe is how we live in our home? We used to think our home was safe. What if all of a sudden, they can get our readings to where they can see exactly what's going on in our home at all times and surveil us? It's happening right now in Russia and Ukraine. It's happening all over the world, and people are trying to get their hands on this technology, such as this CEO, Palantir's talking about, hey, at one point in time, there will be a time where if there's a dangerous drone, if there's a dangerous ship in the ocean, we could send drones out there. They could take over, swarm it, microwave it, meaning EMP it, and basically shut the whole ship down. And there was not one human that had to do it. But the sad thing is the technology that happened right there, that means no one is safe from this crazy technology. So here's a few things that I would make sure that I have tried to do, because I'll be honest with you, this kind of stuff I don't want to ever fear, because again, I am a Christian and I believe that there is times that we get more prepared because we see what's coming. I think we have to go back to a point of what physical money is. So gold and silver, we have to find value in that. Remember, Syria is fighting a war, and guess what they're defending the most? Their gold reserves. And it's still there and hadn't been touched. So all the civil war going on, their gold reserve is still there because they know the value of Syria is in that vault because of gold and silver. China, they're 10 timesing their gold, meaning they're buying 10 times what you think they should be buying in gold because they realize the value. So physical allocation such as gold and silver is not a bad thing. I'd purchase some of that and put it up and keep it safe. Keep it out of banks, keep it away from all these providers that's going to hold your gold for you. Learn to find a place to put it. If it's a cache or a cash built, if it's a cache or cache, a little burial safe, make sure you're utilizing that. 2 is you got to put up food, and you got to put it up now. I can grow gardens. I grow gardens all the time. I have several gardens growing right now. But what if it comes to a point where they're not going to allow you to grow gardens? In the UK, Denmark, they're already telling people to register your gardens to make sure you're not growing anything that shouldn't be growing, because that could be bad for our grounds. That could be bad for us. You could be doing something against the climate. You don't believe that will come over here? Now, hopefully it won't, because we have a good leader coming in to Washington, RFK, who is trying to push for a better holistic diet. But at some point in time, these guys are not going to be in leadership anymore. So won't we prepare now for what could come? So not only do we grow gardens, we need to put food up. We need to have pantries stocked up. So for 2025, learn to stock up your pantry. Learn to put up some food that will last a lifetime. I have tons of videos on different goods that last for years upon years or a lifetime. Number 3, you need to buy seeds. So if you can grow gardens and you're allowed to grow gardens, you have the seeds that you need. Now, what about that? If they say, well, no, you can't grow because we're going to take the seeds away from you. Well, if you already have a seed vault, then you're not going to need to go to the store and buy seeds. My friends at Survival Garden Seeds, they sell seed vaults. Buy a seed vault. It's non-GMO, great quality seeds. And then they tell you how to save the seed on the back of the packet. So it helps you learn how to never provide on a seed provider again. Learn how to never have to go to Walmart again to buy seeds, or to a garden store to buy seeds. So it doesn't matter if the government takes that away like they did in 2020. Do not forget that they took your seeds away in 2020. So buy a seed vault, because you don't know, growing food could be the way of the future. Number 4, some kind of EMP shield. So if you have a Faraday cage or a Faraday case, it may be wise to have that and put some things in it. It may be wise to put an EMP shield on a car. Now, we have 2 older vehicles that are completely mechanical. One's a 60-something model, one's an 80-something model. And it's because, some of them have fuses, but ultimately it can run with just a change of a fuse. It's not computer driven. It's a mechanical vehicle. It is a true mechanical vehicle. One is a military vehicle. Why do we have those things? Because it is a blockade or an EMP blocked shield, to where I cannot have to worry about this if something like that happens. if drone technology gets too much and AI technology gets too much, the only way to solve it is the EMP blast, microwaving like we were talking about the drones on the ship. That's the only way to fry and fix this, but it would put us back in the Stone Age. Well, you better have some kind of ways to get around. EMP shield or a Faraday cage to put some things in. Like in a Faraday cage, you can keep a lot of things in. You know, you hear of the RFID wallets or the RFID safety protocols. Well, a Faraday cage is a lot bigger version of that can hold a lot of your electronics to keep them safe. We keep a satellite phone. We keep a radio technology. We keep CBs. We keep all that kind of stuff in a Faraday cage, to where I know that if something happens, I still have technology and ways to use frequency and the things in the air, such as a satellite, to make communications to see what's going on around the world. Number 5 is water. And that's pretty easy. We think it's very easy. We think, oh, we just turn the faucet on. Start picking up some kind of purification and filtration systems. With this much stuff that's going on in our world, the taintedness of our water systems, our waterways, the fact that everybody's worried about what's going in our ground, get some reverse osmosis or some kind of major filtration system to clean your water up. Learn how to catch water. Now, some places it's illegal. Isn't it amazing that God's rain, people get mad and then states tell you it's illegal to catch the water that they don't own? See, you see how that regulation happens? Little by little, we start losing our rights. Let's go back to 1913. 1913, December 23rd. Before December 23rd, 1913, there was no Fed, because that's when it was made. We didn't have to worry about taxes. Now, Trump came out this week again and stated that he wants to use tariffs like they did previous to 1913 and get away from income tax. He said that again. So that means he's really thinking about this. It's what we need to do. Previous to 1913, all the things I just told you were valued among so much. We're so valuable. Not because they've lost value now. It's because we've allowed technology and all this new stuff to take our eyes off what's truly valuable. Things like we just said, food, water, protection. Things like Faraday cages to keep stuff safe, and gold and silver. Previous to 1913, we didn't have income tax. We didn't have technology. We had people living and working and trying to provide for their families. I think we need to get back to that time. Because all this technology, as good as it is, I'm talking on technology right now, we cannot get so used to it and so to a point where we use it for all our needs. I hear all these people all the time using so much AI technology for all their needs as like a personal secretary. We cannot just rely on technology for our whole life. We have to do some things on our own. And you know what? It's okay to think about that kind of stuff because it helps us be better and helps us prepare. All those things I just told you I have. And it's still, there's times I still like, man, what is all this going on in our world? But then I go back and say, you know what? I'm prepared though. God's given us wisdom and we're prepared. So no matter what comes, no matter how tough it is on Trump, because they're going to try to do all they can to stop him, you have to realize that if you're prepared, you have knowledge and wisdom, and of course a relationship with God, then you'll be okay. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this. These kind of videos are hard for me because I'm thinking like our defense contractors and our big companies are wanting to get into more drone warfare and AI technology. And AI technology and drone warfare scares me because that's stuff that we can't really control. There's things that I can't really put my finger on like I can anything else. And it kind of makes me take a step back and say, you know what? What's so important that we need to do? Okay, here's these 5 things. Because with technology leading our lives, and all of a sudden if technology becomes our Lord or it becomes something that goes away, we've got to rely back on the stuff that was before 1913. True money, true value, which is food and water and growing food, and also having the availability to grow when they may take it away like they have in Europe, and also making sure that we have things protected. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this video. Again, it's a big video kind of rounding out things that Trump is wanting to do, but more than that, pay attention to this AI stuff. It's kind of scary, and I'll be honest with you, it makes me want to prepare more and more and more. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless.